Hi, I'm Brittany. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my mom back.
Hello.
So it is actually my 7-year anniversary for posting on YouTube, which sounds very weird to me. So I thought it'd be fun to revisit the very first video that we did, which was the 24-hour read-a-thon. So my mom was game for it, so.
Yeah, I love to read. A bookworm.
That's where I inherited it from. Which is why anytime me and my sisters, we get like really into talking about books, and she's like, you do know it's not real. And I'm like, you did this. You raised us this way.
Guilty.
All right, why don't you go through the books that you want to read?
Okay, well, so it's 24 hours, right? So not a ton of time. So the book that I'm going to start with is Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. Do you want me to read what it's about?
Sure, you can
Okay.
if you want.
It's a #1 New York Times bestseller. Brene Brown has taught us what it means to dare greatly, rise strong, and brave the wilderness. Now based on new research conducted with leaders, change makers, and culture shifters. She's showing us how to put those ideas into practice so we can step up and lead. It goes on, with more information, but basically, well, since our last read-a-thon, I have become an alderman of my district, so elected official. So I thought this was a great choice to kind of help with the whole being a leader.
Yes, my mom's a politician now.
Okay, elected official. I like that
Complete
term.
strangers know who my mom is, and like her name is on the news sometimes and in newspapers, and it's just weird to me because I'm like, no, she's my mom.
Okay, very local maybe recognition, but not that much. But
So-
yeah, so that's where I'm going to start. According to this, and I'm doing the audio version. It says it's an 8-hour one. And then if I get through that one, I have other ones that I've chosen that are nudge. And the kind of the very short description is improving decisions about health, wealth, and happiness. So
You can tell the genre of books that she likes to read.
I like nonfiction and, kind of self-improvement type thing.
And you can see the kind that I like.
Yes, very much about mystery and things like that.
There are a couple history ones.
In history. Oh, Thomas Jefferson and the Tripoli Pirates. Okay. But they're all fiction, right? Well, I mean, except for that one.
Yeah. Right. Is that all the books you wanted to do?
Yeah, that one's like an 11-hour book.
Oh, so that'll take a while.
Yeah.
So I recently decided to count all the books that I have on my shelf, and then count how many books on the shelf that I have that I haven't read. And I realized that I haven't read a big chunk of them. I have like 253 books, and of those I have 130 books that I haven't read yet. So I exclusively chose books off of my shelf. These are ones that I'm already in the middle of reading, and so I'm hoping to finish them, which is a couple Agatha Christie's. Ordeal by Innocence, which I've actually already read before, so it's not like I've never read it before. And then Parker Pyne Investigates. This is one of those books where it's like a collection of short stories. So I've bounced around it and read a lot of the short stories. There's only 1 or 2 short stories in it that I haven't read yet, so I should be able to finish it in no time, which is why I chose so many. And then another one that I'm literally halfway through is The Secret Book and Scone Society, which is a mystery. I don't know, this might be on the list of questionable ones because the biggest reason why I stopped reading it was because it was getting to a part that I thought might be inappropriate, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to finish that, and I put it down, and it's been 5 years now.
Oh boy. Well,
So-
you can always, skip over those parts.
Yeah, I could always skip over those parts or just DNF it. I don't know. This is another one that I started. This was actually a gift from Jennifer. The House Next Door, which is a mystery too. And then these are ones that if I finish the ones that I've already started, I'll do a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain, which I'm really surprised I haven't read before because Mark Twain is one of my favorite authors. I have several books of his. I've read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer and several others that I can't remember at the moment.
The Red Badge of Courage. We have that up on our book of the greatest books.
Oh, is it?
Up there? I believe it's up there. Sure.
We have a leather-bound book collection that was my great-grandfather's that we inherited, and it has a bunch of classics, which actually I blame for my love of Jane Austen and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, because those are the two of the ones that were on that shelf that's how I discovered those authors, as well as Mark Twain, because Huckleberry Finn as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane, and
Is it Stephen or Stephen?
Stephen?
I think it's Stephen, but it's with, yeah.
I am horrible at doing names.
Sometimes you say it one way. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just...
It's okay. And
Not that it
then
matters.
Thomas Jefferson and the Tripole Pirates, The War That Changed American History, by Brian Kilmeade and Don Yeager. It is, I think, like a dramatized version of history, but I do believe it's based on historical things, so.
There's a lot of books there.
Yes. I did get audiobooks for all of these from the library, so I can switch between the two, so I can still get work done, but finish books.
And I was going to point that out. I know you said a lot of the books on your shelf you didn't read, and I'm guilty of this as well, where I've got way more books than what Brittany does. I've read a lot of them, but I find myself going to the library and getting different books, so that's funny, but it's true.
Well, that, and also the time to sit down and read a physical book, I don't have as much of as well. And so I listen to books on tape all the time that I get from the library. So it's not like I'm not reading ever, but I do audiobooks more now because it just works for me.
Yeah, you can do things, wash dishes, fold clothes, or cook, or whatever you need to do while listening. So it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's why I got the books on tape for all of these too, so I can switch between them, which honestly I love. I think that was one of the biggest reasons why I was really into Audible and Kindle books, because you could seamlessly switch between the two, but it's super expensive, and let's not get into the drama about the ebooks from Amazon.
That's why Libby, which is where I'm getting my books, which is a library app, is totally free.
Yeah, Libby and Hoopla. That's where I got my books.
Oh, Hoopla.
Yes. Hoopla is, you can get ebooks, audiobooks, CDs, and like TV and movies as well.
Oh, I haven't tried that one. Libby is through our local, like the Brown County Library system, so
yes,
it's nice. And it's like you have access to other libraries within like a consortium type of thing. So it's not just limited to what we have in our library, but through that consortium.
Yes, I've actually talked a lot about that in my book, but because that's something that I use all the time. That was actually one of my favorite things that we did when we were kids, our trip to the library. And we had no problem reaching the limit. In case you're wondering,
we found out what it was.
you can only check out 100 books at a time.
100 items.
100 items.
Which would include DVDs or other things like that. So we hit the limit. That was kind of a surprise.
Although it was like before we had our own library cards, so it was all like 6 of us
Yeah, it would be everybody. You had your own library cards, but it was easier for us to put it just on on all mine, so I could keep track of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I maxed out several times when we would go to the library, but I mean, you're learning a lot. That's a good problem.
It is a good problem to have.
For sure.
All right, let's get started.
All right.
Okay, so the first book I'm tackling is Parker Pine Investigates by Agatha Christie. I've been listening to the book on tape. We quick ran to our local library to sign up for the summer reading program because we haven't done that yet. It's weird because I've done the reading program a lot. I'm trying to cover up my personal information, sorry. Okay. On here, oh, it's reversed because I'm on this thing. They have 5 days where you have to read at least 30 minutes each day, which I've already surpassed. And then you check it off each day. And then on the back, they have the different prizes that you can enter for. So then you bring it in after the 5 days, and you get entered in, and then you can get another card. But there's no place to put the books that you've read. So honestly, like, how easy it would be to just fake it, every 5 days. Yeah, I totally did it. I don't know, that's just me. Also on this book, I thought, because his secretary is named Miss Lemon, and I was like, oh, Agatha Christie reusing another name for a secretary, because Hercule Poirot's secretary was Miss Lemon for the longest time before he retired. But it turns out that this is interconnected because the author Ariana Oliver. Oh my gosh, why can't I? Hold on. Okay, it doesn't say her first name. But Mrs. Oliver, the author that sometimes shows up in Poirot's books, or the Poirot stories. Literally just the other day, I actually read Dead Man's Folly, which I thought I had already read. It was a short with Miss Marple, but there's a long book by the same name with Poirot. And so now I'm thinking, books that I've thought I've read, maybe I haven't. I don't know. It's confusion. Anyway, she's in that one, so that's interesting. One thing that I love about this is the premise is he advertises in the paper. Here, I can read it out loud to you. This is what it looks like in the book. Are you happy? If not, consult Mr. Parker Pine. And then it gives the address of his office. And so basically people come to him when they're unhappy. One of them was like, he was a soldier and he came back and he was feeling kind of discontented, and so they hired actors and they sent him off on an adventure. And it's just such an interesting premise because so far well, wait, the last one I did was slightly criminal, but I won't spoil anything. If you want to read it, I highly recommend this book. It is so good. Haven't quite finished yet. I only have a couple, like I said, it's a bunch of like short stories. And so I'm skipping over the ones that I've already read and reading the ones I haven't read yet. And I think there's only like a couple left. Here's the table of contents. Oh, never mind. Okay, anyway, so that's the update. Yeah. I do have some work that I need to do. So I'm gonna get going with that and hopefully finish this book. Ow, oh geez Louise. Hit myself. Okay, enough chit chat. I'm gonna get to work. Okay, it is almost 11 right now. I just finished Ordeal by Innocence. And I read half of Parker Pines Investigates. So I haven't quite finished that one yet. Yes, I know my handwriting is horrible. I actually just got this for Christmas from my sister. It's for books. And what you can do is fill out all these stuff. And this was my overall rating. Writing style, 4 stars. Relatability, 5. Originality, 5. Readability, 5. Personal impact, 2. I never know how to rate that one because I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like all that. There was relatable stuff in it, but it's not like it impacted me. I don't know. But overall, 5 stars, which I pretty much always give Agatha Christie. Honestly, she's one of those authors that is just like an automatic. I haven't worked on any of the other books. I thought I was further along in Ordeal by Innocence, but I was only on like the 7th chapter when I started. So I basically read most of the book. So that was like 7 chapters about here. Or here, I could just put it right on. So it was here on chapter 7 when I started today. So I've read this much today. Mostly with an audiobook. And just because I wanted to finish it tonight, I did put the audiobook on a slightly faster speed. Not so fast that it sounds like a chipmunk because I can't stand that, but like 1.5. So it made it faster at the end so I could finish it tonight. Otherwise, I would not have finished it. A little peek into a project I'm working on. This is what I was doing while I was listening to it. Spoiler. Oh gosh, I have to do that on the other side too. That takes forever. But I think it'll be worth it. Hopefully. Alright, how many books did you read?
Okay, well, I completed the one book. It was a long...
It was like 11 hours, wasn't it?
Well, this particular one was 8 hours and 9 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And that's with like the last hour on double speed so that I could finish it before the end of our our 24-hour marathon here, which actually was okay. It's terrible. I think it is an indication of me and my attention span. I thought I had a really good attention span, but when it was on double, it was like easier for me to pay attention. So
Oh,
I don't know what
really?
that says about me, but maybe my brain is working just way too fast.
Maybe.
I don't know, but yesterday after we were done, it's probably like a little fun tidbit. I know that you said it in your vlog, but we literally finished recording and then we jumped in the car and went and joined the adult reading program at our local library. And so it says mark off 5 days of reading and turn in your card to receive prizes. Oh, it doesn't say it on here, but she told us that it was for every 20 minutes a day.
At least 20 minutes.
At least 20 minutes. Well, we way overdid that. So we got 2 days in
Yeah.
easily with that. So, yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about the books at all.
Sure. Why don't you rate yours?
Oh, rate it?
Yeah.
Oh, on a scale of 1 to 10?
There's 5-star ratings.
Oh,
for
okay.
books.
Honestly, I would give it a 5-star. It had really good information. And just a reminder, it was Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. And it just had some really good ideas as to how to be a good leader, with leading by example, integrity, being able to be vulnerable, and just go into people with problems directly and not to other people about that person, but go directly to them, and you're going to have a lot better results. And
so basically, going to the person and working out the issue instead of gossiping about them to other people.
Exactly.
Which makes total sense.
Yeah, because then you can work it out if there's an issue.
Yeah.
They have a concern. So that was part of it. Let's see. Showing that we don't always have the right answers, and we're willing to admit that.
Mm-hmm.
But we can work together to get the answers. And
yeah,
so there was a lot of really good information. Even stuff that I've learned through life skills. This is kind of
I was gonna say that sounds a lot like that.
Yeah. Where like the difference between being shame based or guilt based. Where guilt is good, but shame is bad. Like shame says that you're a bad person, where guilt says I make mistakes. Or shame is like you are a mistake, and guilt is I make mistakes. And this really dives into what it looks like when you're shame-based. And so I thought that was really interesting to have that kind of, piggyback off of my other training that I've had.
Yeah. I read 2 books, both by Agatha Christie.
Surprise!
Agatha Christie pretty much is always 5 stars for me. I have already read this, but that was like so long ago I couldn't remember, and I've seen so many adaptions of this, and so I'm like, you know what, I don't even remember how the book went, so I wanted to finish it. And it amazes me how much they like to change for the adaptions, for the movies or TV series that they do of things.
It's almost not even close, right? Isn't it a disappointment when they make it into a movie?
It is, honestly, because there's this one character that they like to kill off in the movies and TV series that doesn't get killed in the book.
Really?
Yeah. She's the secretary of the husband of the victim. And after the victim dies, they get closer and then they get engaged, get married, and then it comes to light that the person they thought had done it hadn't done it or whatever. And so all the suspicion, that's why it's called Ordeal by Innocence, because obviously it's the innocent who suffer because they're also suspected, and if they can't find who the murderer is, then they're forever suspected and they will die no one knowing if they're the murderer or not.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of the premise of the book.
So then you've watched the movie before you read the book?
Before
you finished the book?
I've read the book first before I saw any of the adaptions, but that was so long ago, and I've seen the adaptions since, and so I'm like, I can't even remember what the book was, so I wanted to finish it.
I see.
And, 5 stars. And Parker Pines Investigates, it's a collection of short stories, and so I have read like several of the different ones, but I hadn't read all of them, so I finished all of them. And they're really good. I love the premise. Here, I'll read the expert. the premise of it. Are you unhappy? If not, consult Mr. Parker Pine. And then it has the address of his office. And it's kind of like set up like he's a private investigator, but instead what he does is he helps solve people's personal problems. Like if you're, one of the problems was a middle-aged housewife who, her and her husband worked really hard in the early days to build his business. And now his business is successful and they can enjoy it. And she wants to go out and see, to the theater and dancing, but he doesn't want to. And then suddenly one of the young ladies from his office starts paying attention to him, and he likes it because she's a pretty young lady. And so he starts doing those things with her, and he's like, oh, she's just a poor thing that I'm like doing these nice things for. And he doesn't understand why his wife is hurt or upset about it, because in her mind he's cheating. And so she goes to Parker Pine, and he basically kind of sets it up where she starts going out with this young man, like dancing and doing stuff with him, to kind of show the husband why she was hurt. And the funny thing is he's so arrogant, this husband, he doesn't even fully like realize why it upsets him. But then he's just like, oh, let's go on vacation. And so they end up like fixing everything, but he never fully understands what he did wrong, which kind of upsets me, but it's still fixed anyway. But yeah, so 5 stars. Although kind of, it's funny, kind of arcing back to your comment about when it was on full speed, it was easier. I found, because these are a series of short stories, I kept like not feeling engaged, being like, oh, I can put it down and it's fine. But when I switched to this one, I couldn't put it down because it was one story.
Oh, okay. So that's one full story, and those are all small stories.
Yeah, these are a collection of short stories versus one long story. I didn't get as disconnected or disengaged as with this one as I did with this one, and I think it's because it's just a bunch of short stories, so then it's easier to disengage with.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was weird. But yeah.
So you probably noticed that we have a friend joining us. Our Zoe up here, we call her our parrot sometimes because if we're sitting, it looks like she's sitting on our shoulder.
Yeah.
She listened to the stories to mine when I had it out loud. When my earbuds would the battery would die, then I'd have to listen to it, and she'd have to listen to it too. Listen to it out loud rather than in my earbuds. But yeah, there was one. Kind of going back to what my book is, she has what she calls a rumble with people. I know that's a strange.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, let's rumble. Let's get together. Like have a group talk about a situation and discuss solutions. So that was the word that she used was the rumble. So I thought that was an interesting thing. I thought I would bring up, but yeah, and then. Something that I always feel is really important, and that's expectations. So, she has another saying that's paint a picture of what that looks like. What's the end result look like? So then it helps with that expectation of what you're looking for. Because I don't know about you, but the biggest thing I think with any kind of job or even like planning events, something, whatever, you want to know what the expectation is. And if the person that has expectations doesn't know what their expectations are, you can't meet them. No. You ever notice that the bar keeps going up and up and up because they don't even know what they want.
It's almost as bad as unrealistic expectations.
Right. Well, because it's like if they don't have that in mind and you're talking about, okay, this is what we're doing, and all of a sudden it keeps going up because maybe they're coming up with more ideas to me, I look at it as changing the finish line or raising the bar.
The goalpost is always moving further and further away.
Yeah. So it's really hard to work with and for people that don't even really clearly know what they want.
Yeah.
And there was something else where, and I knew this, but it was in the book, and I want to point it out that when people don't love themselves, they can't love others.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says they love you, but they don't love themselves, then it's hard,
mean anything.
right? I mean, you know that it's impossible if you don't love yourself, you can't love others.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing, because you watch people and you're like, because that's one of the best things about life is love, family, love of pets,
Yeah.
like, and if you don't know how to give or receive love, then that really takes away the best parts of life, and that's really sad for people.
It is, and it goes back to that whole shame-based. If you've grown up with shame and you're trying to meet expectations,
Mm-hmm.
of your parents or whoever, but usually your parents, then you're constantly trying to get that edification that's just not there. And so you are shame-based, and then it's really hard to love others.
Yeah.
So that's what leads to narcissism, which was talked about in the book as well.
Oh gosh. Maria and I are writing a book, and one of our characters is kind of along the same lines, and so we were doing a lot of research on narcissism and what the actual definition of gaslighting is and all of that stuff. And I found that I was really glad when we're like, okay, the first draft is done. We sent it to you and our sister to read. And I was really glad, because when you're in the middle of that, you tend to be a little bit sensitive to that sort of thing happening too. So that was really hard for me. We were still working on it, but I'm so glad to be out of the thick of it because of that. Because it actually really does upset me about stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I hate that.
Well, the ironic thing about narcissism is it's the opposite of what you'd think. You'd think that they just had so much self-confidence that they just think they're like all that kind of thing. They're perfect, they know it all. But it's really the opposite. They have no self-confidence, and they're shame-based. So it comes off as the opposite of what is really truly inside.
It's mostly, to me, I think narcissism is mostly just selfishness, where it's not that they think so highly of themselves, they think so little of everyone.
But also
including
themselves. Yeah.
And everyone else. And so, I mean, there are different shades of narcissism, and there are different ways where they try to, because they feel so out of control within themselves, they feel the need to control everything around them.
Exactly, yeah.
And so the more that they feel the loss of control, the more they try to control, the more they hold on tight. And that's the more they lose control and lose everything, because people don't like to be controlled. Shocker!
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah, so, I mean, it was interesting. It was a lot of different things. Obviously, when you're listening to over 8 hours of material, there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would highly recommend it.
If you're interested in any of the books, I will link them down in the description box below. Anything else you wanted to say, or?
No, it looks like our Kit the cat is trying to join us here too. He's kind of behind you, but we do have a couple fur babies here that we love. So that's an add-on bonus there.
I don't know if you can hear it, but he's using the back of the couch as his personal scratch post.
Oh.
That's what he's doing right now.
Ooh.
Which is sassy. All right, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.
Have a good day. Bye.